everyone, welcome to the stream. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. I know it's not like me to be live on a Wednesday, but here I am. Gonna start this Ghost Eevee today. I'm excited. We've talked about Ghost Eevee for years. What if there was an evolution of me as a ghost? To give you a little bit of a backstory, it's a little morbid. It came up between my mods and friends, my fam, that, we're missing some evolutions of Eevee. And we're always looking for more. What if there was a ghost evolve? So the story behind this goes, how would you get a ghost evolve Eevee? Well, as one of my dear friends said, most Eevees need a stone or friendship or something like that. A ghost Eevee morbidly would need a brick. So I will let you fill in the blanks on how Eevee became a ghost evolve. But here we are, and we're gonna paint it, and we're gonna create it, and we're gonna bring it into life. I hope to finish this painting this month. I'm gonna work on it in multiple streams, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. And I thank you guys for hanging out and being here and watching. Hi, African and Racing Tank. Welcome both to the stream. Welcome. I hope you guys are doing awesome. I am doing great. Thank you so much for asking. I'm doing good. I'm a little bit sleepy as always, but my cat, my favorite pastime, is sleeping, so it's just gonna be a given. But let's go, let's do this. Let's create this beautiful painting today. Here's a sneak peek. I've kind of already sketched it out on the canvas to give you an idea. Ghost Eevee is going to be seen at night, so Ghost Eevee is going to have very large eyes and very large ears, as most animals do that come out at night have very large eyes and to see things in the dark. And also they have very large ears so that they can hear, Maybe Ghost Eevee has a little bit of that sonar ability. So, a little bat-like. The tail on the Ghost Eevee is not going to be as long, but it's going to be translucent. It's going to have this Ghost Eevee is going to almost have it's kind of a combination of the elements of, I would say, like Leafeon, where it's kind of like leafy, but yet it's kind of like Flareon because it's kind of wild, And it's definitely going to be its own unique species, but we're going to see a little bit of those things. Like even Jolteon. Jolteon has like a real small body, full of power. So we're going to go with some of those similarities here to keep it within that family, but give it its own unique identity. Nico Nee! Thank you for the Nico Nee. Thank you. And I just looked down. I just had this sudden fear. What if I've been on mute the whole time? Because I felt like I just did a really good intro. And when that happens, I've always muted or something the whole time. Because, technology is great. So, no. I was not muted this time. I have a little bit of coffee and I have some water, so we're ready to go. I hope you have water, snacks, and I hope you can just relax and chill and watch me paint today. I'm definitely thirsty. I should have drank more today. I was bad about drinking water today. I think I've lived off coffee instead. It's just not ideal. Water is very important. I wish I could take what I see in my head of this final product and share it with you guys, but you're just gonna have to wait until the end. I have it in here. I know what I want. I know what I'm looking for. And you guys are just gonna have to see it. It's gonna take, like I said, a few streams, some painting, and we're gonna bring it to life. I have already taken the time to put all my paint on my palette. I am properly prepared today. Usually I do this on stream and it takes me another 30 minutes because I'm very particular about placement and color and what I put where. So you will be proud of me. I've already got started and did that. I've got things pretty well set up and where I want them. Now I just have to start mixing some colors and put them on the canvas. Thank you, Tank. Thumbs up, you proud of me? Yes, Tank's proud of me. And I have music playing in the background. I hope it's not too loud, not too quiet, just some lo-fi music today. And of course, Paimon will periodically interrupt our silence. But you know, Paimon is emergencies food, so we gotta have Paimon around. Thank you, Legs. Thank you so much for the sub for 48 months. Holy cow. Thank you for being in my fam for this long. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for gifting a sub to Afro. Thank you. Afro will use it greatly. Afro's always here and so supportive in Discord and on stream. Thank you so much. Thank you, Legs. Oops. You accidentally, you've gifted 82 subs to my channel. Can you believe that? 82! That is crazy. That is so many. Thank you for all your generous support through the years. It's much appreciated. What colors am I starting with today? I need like some blacks, some browns, some blues. We've got all kinds of colors going on. This around everything is a forest. So there's a forest and then it's got some backlighting of blue coming in. It's gonna be a very dark painting so that I can make our gorgeous Eevee here very translucent. Oh, eventually I gotta give my Ghost Eevee a name. Ooh, maybe you guys can vote on that eventually. We'll have to come up with some names throughout stream. And at the end, on the last day, maybe we can vote on what to name this Ghost Eevee. We knew we wanted a Ghost Eevee evolution, but what would you name your Ghost Eevee evolution? Maybe that should be my stream title. Or like part of the title. Bring. See. What? Done. Added. So what would you name her? We're just assuming that Ghost Eevee's a her now. And I don't mean like your pet name. I mean like her evolutionary type. Bukon. Bukion. That's cute. We should keep a tally of these names. And then, oh, maybe I can do that live. Like, put a little thing on the stream. And we can put down some names here and there just to keep in mind. And later on, we might actually, make a real list. Eevee names. Okay, we're gonna name it. Let's see. Okay, I forgot one of the O's. Nice work, dude. Very nice. Thank you. You're all over the screen like ginormous. I know. I'm gonna fix it. Don't worry. It's like huge. We're gonna select a font. I don't want that one. What does this one look like, I wonder? We definitely need a smaller font size. That works. Hit okay. And maybe we should clarify that it's like possible. Maybe. Nah. Maybe. See. Did I spell that right? Evolution? Probably not. How do you spell evolution? Let's see. Evolution. There we go. Almost. But that's okay, because we're gonna. This is what we're gonna do. There. Ghost Evolution names. We're getting creative. There we go. Ghost Evolution names. I like it. Possible Ghost Evolution names. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller, so not like. Okay, that the streamlights are in the way. Oh well. We'll just leave it there like that. It's fine. It's fine. Cat nap. Yes. That would be cute. We need like spooky names. Let's see. You know, like there's Gengar and Haunter, and they're just like so like out there. I'd catnap though. As your name. Unless you come up with a name you like better. And then we'll switch it out. How's that sound? If you come up with a name you like better, we'll switch it out. So we got 2 on the board for now. Alright, why did I grab the white paint first? Maybe I don't know. I don't want white first. Maybe I do. Gonna need white paint no matter what color I start with, because there's white paint in everything I do. To make some trees and such. So I need some burnt umber, some Azula Crimson, I think is what it's called. Red. So I wish I had another camera right here, right now, so that I could show you mixing the paint colors. I mean, I can do this a minute. I need some browns, and then you kind of get the idea. And then we'll have some darker shades of that mixed in. And then we're gonna need some lighter colors as well. So we're gonna come over here and let's just pinch off a little bit of that. We're gonna have some of this color going on. You guys can't see the color super good, it looks like, but that's okay. A little bit of that. I want some more of that in there. Right in that. So you can see me mixing all these beautiful colors together. I think my red is trying to run down the palette though. It's bleeding. These are the tree colors. If you're wondering what colors I'm mixing colors for the trees. And then get as much of that off there as I can because I don't want to waste it. And then I'm going to start mixing some blue colors for the background. Because we have some blues going on as well. Because it's going to be backlit with blue. So the lighting is coming from the back. And in the back, you're going to have some turquoise, some, cyan colors, some dark deep blues, some blacks. Just as you get deeper into the forest, it's going to be backlit brightly, but have dark trees. So we're going to work on mixing those colors with this color right here is actually a really dark blue. So we're going to start with that. And then we got some of this blue. We just took the whole thing. We don't want the whole thing. Okay. I gotta set this down before I make it a mess. So we're gonna mix that blue in there. And then the turquoises, I kind of want that now, and I didn't even get that paint color out. That's okay. Maybe we can fake it. A little bit of green. And then add some whites. So I think you can see this. There we go. Dreams! Check out you with the painting apron looking the part. Thank you. Yeah, I got my Twitch painting apron on. My St. Jude gift one year. Thank you. How are you, Dreams? How are you? Welcome to the stream. You're gonna get to relax and watch some art. Oh, that came out so pretty. I'm actually kind of happy with that. No, we don't want the whole chunk of that blue. Get back up there. Stick back up there. Just want some of it. Okay, so there's some blues that we're going to be using in the background. And again, this is a really dark deep blue. It looks black. It's so dark. But we do have black, and we will be using black too. And then we're going to have some brighter colors, but I think this is a good base point to start with, other than we're probably going to need more of this blue stuff going on. And then we're going to even need some black, because we want the full depth of this. So there you go. Blues, blacks, browns for the trees and all that such. Because that's how we're getting started today. Clean my paint knife off. I love paint knives for mixing. It keeps my brushes clean. One less brush to clean. Paint knives are easy to clean. You just literally take an old towel and you just like fold it and pull the knife through and pull all the paint off. Alright, I think this is going to be my winning brush. I love the base work. That in itself is skill. Thank you. Just this sketched illustration. Yeah, it took time. I was explaining to everyone that got started that we're doing this Ghost Eevee with really some thought into nighttime creatures, like big eyes, big ears, just kind of things, bats would have, and, night creatures. So Ghost Eevee is a creature of the night and will be seen at night, and it's going to be translucent. Not completely. It's going to still be kind of solid, but like its tail will be like feathery and flowy and translucent, and its fur is almost like feathers or leaves, and it's flowy and translucent, so it'll be interesting to see. Alright, I think we're gonna start with this big brush here. There we go. I like this one. And I probably didn't mix enough of each color, but we'll figure that out as we go. Agreed. Well, thank you, Tink. Thank you. I'm glad you guys like it and approve. First part is putting paint on the canvas is just scary. I'm like, here we go. Take a deep breath. It's all fine. You're gonna paint it 500 times. It's all gonna come out in the wash. What you don't like, yeah, that was loud. I'm sorry. What you don't like, you can paint over and do again. So here we go. Oh, fix one more thing too. Make sure my sound doesn't pink if I get too loud here. Move that down a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna look at the background a little bit, kind of. I've given myself other references too for what I want, so if you see me looking over, that's why I'm looking at my other ideas for this forest that I'm painting. So a real part of this is just getting color on everywhere. It's definitely gonna be dark. And you're gonna see light coming through in spots as well. And you'll see more light coming through where the Eevee is itself. I have an idea. Oh, just over here, so I don't have to turn my head so much. True painters hold their brush with their teeth while they're moving stuff around. Yeah, that happened. That's tea. So. I want more of this white now that I'm looking at it. That's okay, because if I have kind of a dark color when I add the lighter later, it'll be great. It'll show up more. Yeah, today's goals will be a lot of base coat goals. A lot of getting stuff on here. You're gonna be like, what happened? Where did the painting go? So today's gonna be really dark. Or spooky! I don't know if I took a picture of this. I kind of want to take a picture real quick. Cute. Make sure I save that. I did save it. Kimono, here's a trick. See when you're doing the base work, do it in pastels, and then you can just wash the background. You don't need to lick out the dark bits. Just a tip, yeah. This one I'm starting with like really dark, and then the light's gonna be on top. So I could almost have started with a black canvas, which would have been cool. It probably would have been easier if I started with a black canvas for this painting and then added the light on top, but I didn't have one. Pastels, wax one. Yeah, this is chalk. This is chalk. So this right here that I got on now is chalk. It rubs right off. So yeah, it's like that wet chalk stuff. Hello! Use brick. It was super effective with a critical hit. Yes, super effective. But yeah, pastels were great, like chalk pastels to draw on your design, and then you can just paint over it. Pencil is the worst because if you are trying to paint light colors, then pencil will still show up through, and you don't want to use pencil. But you're right, Dreams. And actually, it's better to put all the background colors on, then draw your picture. But yeah, I always do things the hard way. Ghost. Ooh. It's the only ways to get a Ghost Eevee. Yes, poor Eevee. Poor Ghost Eevee. But yeah, I won't be surprised if I don't come back later and draw Eevee back on again. That's the reason I took a picture. Was I could do that. I could come back later and draw it back on. Because I honestly want it to be more transparent and I kind of need to paint over it. At least on the edges. Like the tail and the ears and things like that. I want it to be translucent. Aside, how are you doing, Mono? Haven't been in for a while. I'm doing good, and I hope to be on a lot over this month. So if you haven't had a chance to check out my schedule, I've posted it to all my social medias, to my Discord announcements, everywhere. Check out my schedule for this month. I plan on being on a lot so that we can all hang out and talk. And I want to get this painting done in a month. That'll be awesome. But yeah, I think I'm totally gonna paint over the tail, and you guys are gonna freak out. You have bold colors, which is amazing and confident. Yeah, it's gonna be a very bold, high contrast painting. That's the goal. It's gonna be a very dark nighttime. It's a nighttime painting. It's a nighttime scene. So truthfully, I need to paint in all the background and then bring Eevee back out. But I'm just a little chicken right this minute to paint over her. That, and I kind of wanted you guys to see what I have in mind for what she'll look like. Maybe I should take a screenshot. You're a bold, high contrast painting. Me? I am today. I got black lipstick and blonde hair. That makes me a high contrast painting, right? So am I a high contrast painting? Maybe. But yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna bring. Well, I hit the wrong thing. I was like, why do we got that background? Need more goth? Yeah. I enjoyed the black lipstick, not gonna lie. I like it against my white, blonde hair. Remember the rule of painting, at least once you go black, you can't go back. It's tough to lighten it, but you know you're good, so just saying, yes. Well, since I'm gonna do this over a period of time, I don't mind going really dark because then the light will pop on top when it's dry. So I won't be able to do the white parts today, but over time as I go on, get all that down and it dries a little bit, it'll be easier. So I'm going to do this so you guys can like see the, I know I already took one, but I'm gonna take one of these and post it on the stream. So if people come in, they're not like, I want them to be able to see the progress, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna send this to myself in Discord and then post it on the stream where you can see it. Let's see. Nailing it. Time lapse is it. That could be cool. Yeah, I've done that. I've done time lapse. It's fun. I have one on my channel right now that's time lapsed. Okay. I should have time lapsed the last painting, but I think I just did it in too many sessions. Oh my gosh, Paima! Gee! Thank you so much! Thank you for the 19 months, Jamie! It's so good to see you! Good to see your face. I hope you're doing awesome. Welcome to the team! I'm about to post a picture of the progress because I don't want people to like go, well, where's the Eevee? Because I'm fixing to like pretty much paint over it to get the colors down. Let's see, I'm gonna save this to my desktop. Save images. That works. And then I'm gonna come over here. And shrink Discord. This looks so good. How you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So yeah, we're painting the evolution of Eevee as if it was a ghost type, and we're gonna come up with names. And then at the end of this month, when I finish this painting, we're gonna give this evolution a name. I'm doing good though. I hope you are as well. All right, image. Bear with me because this image will probably cover up my face for a hot second. Pencil. Because I know I can do this in like dual mode, like behind the scene and then apply it, but that's a lot of work. I just want you guys to have like a visual image of what it's going to be in the future because this is going to change quite a bit through the different phases. Okay, because we're pretty much going to end up painting over it. JJ! Hi JJ, welcome, welcome, welcome. Alright, I gotta give you guys some shout outs here. Welcome to this team, Jamie. Party Animals. How was Party Animals? Welcome JJ. You're welcome, you're welcome. Welcome everyone. Oh, and Hollow, you've been streaming a lot lately, haven't you? There we go. That's a cool emote. Dang. Party animals is super ridiculous. Yeah, I was lurking one day. I saw it. It was pretty crazy. I was like, looks wild. Looks pretty wild to me. I'm scared to paint over the evening. I need to, though. In order to do this right, I should put the background on first. But we'll see. Maybe I won't have to completely paint over it. Do some dark colors through here. If you're around, I'll see you in my stream on Friday. Sweet. What are you gonna be streaming, Jay? You were just doing Mortal Kombat, of course. That's why you posted that logo. Y'all doing anything crazy cool on your streams for Halloween? I'm gonna do a giveaway. I'm gonna be giving away some Halloween stickers of my Halloween painting, and gonna be doing Pokemon card giveaways, Halloween Pokemon cards. So I'm gonna be giving those away, and my stickers. Here. Yeah, these guys. I've already given some of them away on bingo night, but I'm gonna give some more away. So. Dee-dee. Your friend worked on Spider-Man 2? That is awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Nothing too crazy. I may break out Ash Ketchum's costume for Halloween. Do it, do it. I kind of wanted to wear a costume like every stream this month, and then I realized I'm going to be messing with paint almost every stream this month, and I don't want to get paint on my costume. So on my, different outfits. So I don't know how much dressing up I'll do. And I'll try to dress up when I'm not messing with paint. One time I will be a kitty mod. One time. I mean, you're already kind of are. You're my dev, my Neko dev. Here. You can be a temporary mod today and help me out. That way you can do my shout outs. Oh, Rain made it! I'm starting to wonder if I had any mods today. So I just gave Legs temporary mod authority so he can help me with shout outs. No, it's okay. Welcome. Everybody's busy. I know you have been super busy, girl. Don't even. School and work. I don't see how you do it. Well, I'm proud of you. Yee. I'm proud of you for doing all that. I'm right now trying to get in the dark background of the woods that also is going to be bringing in light. And then we're gonna have twisty, curly trees, brown trees in the front. I got all my colors on my palette, if you're curious. Here's the colors we mixed out earlier. I scrapped so much of what I already wrote. It's so hard. Oof. But yeah. Well, I know you can do it. I believe in you. I believe in you. I know you will make it happen. This is a hard part. It's like being, like you said, it's brave doing these bold colors and starting out. Because when you're just starting out, you can see the picture, and then you slowly start making it go away, and you're like, no, it's disappearing. But you gotta make it disappear, and then we'll find it all over again. It's gonna go away, and then it'll come back out. In a new, most exciting way. I don't have a whole lot of faith in it, but I won't be extremely upset if I don't get full points. As long as I continue to pass all of my quizzes with A pluses, I will continue passing the class. You can definitely do it. Welcome, artists! Welcome! This is gonna make artists want to get out her paintbrushes and start painting. Jamie, do you do art? Jamie, I feel like you're an artistic person. I bet Jamie does do art. When you flop your paintbrush onto your paint palette and get paint all over just music, well, I mean, that's a form of art. So, definitely talented. But yeah, I just totally flopped me. I tried, but I'm no Mono. You can do it. You can do it. Anybody can do art with practice. I just did a lot of it as a kid, to be honest. I just did a whole lot. And also, it's not even just practice. You just have to have, like, you have to want to do it. You have to have the patience for it. If it's not your thing, then you're never gonna, be good at it. You could have all the talent to do it in the world and it still not be your thing. I've seen super talented people that just chose to never develop the talent because it just wasn't their forte. They're just like, yeah, no, that's not me. Thank you, though. I will do a paint along with Mono stream. Oh, yes! That would be cool if we had a paint stream. Everybody bring your wine and your paint. We all do a painting. Kind of like like those places you go and drink wine and paint, Bring your favorite beverage and paint. Do a Bob Ross style. All right, everybody get out your cyan paint and your white paint as we paint the sky. And now we're gonna put on these happy trees. All right. Good luck walking, doggo, Rain. Good luck, good luck. If you guys come up with any evolution names for a Ghost Eevee, let me know too. We're putting a bunch of them into the pool, and by the time we get done at the end of this painting, probably, toward the end of the month, we're gonna give this evolution an actual evolution name. Not just a pet name, but an evolutionary name. Where do I want to go now? I started to put like more tree shapes in here on the side. Because I want you to know that they're trees. We're painting sad trees. These are not happy trees. These are ghosty, foresty trees. In the dark forest of trees. You'll see it better when I do it on this side. And love that. I do talk to myself sometimes as well, so. Just keep that in mind as we're painting. If you think I'm talking to you and you're like, what? Like, oh god. Now it's me talking to myself again. A wild weeping bell appeared. Poketch. Yes. Do I have any Pokeballs? I must. And I think the fun part about this painting is it's gonna like, everything's gonna be like branching out into like a circle shape. So it's like we're looking down through this hollow and you're gonna see this glowing Ghost Eevee down through this hollow, this circle shape. We've got kind of a long ways to go before that happens, but as you can tell, you'll start to see things round up and shape up in like a circular shape. Kind of like when you're driving down the road and all the trees are growing over top of the road. Yeah. That's okay, artist. And then, but that's the kind of effect I want. Like that overgrown road or path with all the trees. And I think this actually needs to go up higher. It does. All this color needs to go in there too. You caught it? Yes. How was your day? It's good. It's good. I slept in today. I will tell you what, I had 2 nights that I only got 3 hours of sleep each night in a row. So this morning I slept in and I slept 10 hours. So I'm feeling much better today after getting all that sleep. I've also taken some needed time off from work. So that's another reason you're going to see some more afternoon streams this week on rare days. It's because I needed a much needed staycation. I have been working way too hard. So now my goal is to relax with you guys and do some art, which is exciting. And also some video games, and also get some things done around the house that I just don't normally have time to do. So I'll still be a busy bee. I'm always the busy bee. I don't know how to not be a busy bee. It's in my nature to be busy all the time. We're wonderfully lucky to have you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Jamie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm lucky to have you and friends like you guys. But yeah, I don't advise working 40 hours a week and streaming. It's really hard. I'm sure many of you know that. Let's see. Okay, this one's gonna have a big, dark tree right here. Dark tree growing right there. It's kind of hard to see it, but it's a tree amongst all this stuff going on. There's a dark tree right there. Yes, I was doing that when I first started streaming. I don't know how I did it. I don't know either. I did it for a couple years. Like, and now it's like, yeah, no, streams are like pretty much can't be on work nights anymore. I'm just too tired. You were streaming to get your mind off counseling work? That makes sense. Just positive distractions. Welcome back. Yes, welcome back, Lady Rain. Positive viewers. Spreading positivity and light into the world. That's what Jimmy does. I'm gonna add some light in here so you can see the contrast of the light against this tree. I want you to be able to see it, not disappear. Then we're gonna add some light on the other side. Yeah, I think I streamed a lot too to get my mind off things. Which is funny if you think about it. You stream to get your mind off things, but then you end up being involved in like so much more because you just want to help everybody. But then it's more of by choice, so it's a little different. Gonna lurk through to continue my paper. Got a lot off of ground. I gotta make up. Okay, good luck. Yes, exactly. Yes. So you were still counseling, but to more of a group or an audience and on your terms. Still helping others. By the way, someone needs to invent an ice pack for a single finger. No! I hope it gets better soon. I know you're trying to keep it wrapped up, but I don't know. I feel like sometimes just keeping it wrapped up makes it swell up and hurt more. Might be to a point at some point that you just don't even want to keep it wrapped up anymore. Because it might actually heal faster. Other than maybe like wrapping it up when you're sleeping or doing something vigorous that you're gonna like knock it and really hurt it. You know, like walking the dog. You know, you don't want it to get any worse than it already was. Okay, so we're gonna put some trees in here and hurry up and get the blue done so we can start the brown. So excited to start the brown soon. Oh, I gotta get this tree done too. Says mostly just swelling. I'm occasionally taking my splint off to help get movement, but some movement hurts. I'm starting to think it's a ligament pulled. Oof, might be. Oh, yeah. That's a really good idea. I've seen people do that with dish soap. I saw that on like a TikTok or something. I forgot that's a thing. That's like making homemade gel packs, basically. Definitely a good idea. I forgot all about those. The gel packs are expensive. But if you can make your own, go for it. I would double bag it for sure. Yeah. Don't want to have a sticky situation. All that soap everywhere. Gosh, it would take you an eon to clean it up. Be like, add more water, add more water, add more water. Be like endlessly adding water. Yep, I have two that I got from stepmom because she's diabetic and gets her insulin shipped to the house. And those ones, one of those fancy ones with those little water beads that are malleable, that's nice. That was left in the car at work. Don't leave it in the car. You gotta put it back in the freezer. Nice. Thank you for the cookies, Lux. I need all the cookies. Yum, 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 yum. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do this. We're gonna put in this color. Stop being afraid of the paint. Just put some paint down. We got this. Sometimes I'm just scared to put the color down. I'm scared. For Jane, drink water, thank you. No, I found it in a cart. Oh, okay. So somebody just abandoned it. Stretch break? That sounds wonderful. I've been on for an hour. It's probably time to get off my feet. Who knows how long I was sitting here before I even hit the button to prep paint. Don't put your feet in the bucket of paintbrushes. Word to the wise. Bucket of paintbrushes is not where your feet go. Most of these are so old, I don't know why I keep them, but I need to get some new brushes. I guess I have only good things. Thank you. Stretch break. To my cute little apron. Oh yeah, here's the St. Jude stuff. St. Jude. Now you know, St. Jude. Oh. You only have good things? Alright, I'm going to step around the corner real quick and I'll be back. You guys take your stretch breaks too, grab your drinks, get your snacks, and we'll be right back. Be right back. Back. Pseudo escaped. No one caught it. No rats. Denied. Sudowoodo. How rude. So, alright, back to this blue. So that we can start the brown. And then we'll probably go in and add some highlights as well. I'm gonna start, putting in some tree shapes too. More more tree shapes. All the random tree shapes. Just gonna go down through here because I gotta follow this line through from the top to the bottom. I need a little more light in my studio. It's a little dark in here. Might have to fix that. Some of the trees are super skinny and some of them are wider and some of them are really thick, just like nature. And don't worry about Eevee slowly disappearing a little bit. That's okay. We want to make sure to paint into her a little more than we plan on anyway. That way when we paint the translucent parts out over top of the background, you can see them. Like I said, this painting almost, I was tempted to start the canvas with black, like a solid black canvas, and then paint on top of it to bring. I think I'm gonna add some light in here. Hold on. Gonna be too bright in here. It's okay. I don't like it this bright in here, but that's okay because we want to see more of the painting. You guys don't need to see me. Just like, yeah, I'm not here. It's really too bright in here. Oh, dropping stuff. Dropping stuff. Hi Shane! Welcome to the stream! Hiya, hiya, hiya! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're having a good day. Hope work treated you well. I'm glad you survived. Bet you're home sweet home. Welcome home. Got a dip later, folks. Okay, alright, Tank. Catch you later. Thanks for hanging out. Then we're gonna just keep going with this lighter color here. And then boo! Hi, Momo! Welcome, Momo. Hi, Sixer! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the stream, guys. Sit down, relax, chill, catch some Pokemon. Watch me paint a Pokemon. Start thinking about crazy Pokemon names you would name an Eevee. Ghost type evolution, or an Eeveelution as we're calling it. It's an Eeveelution. Spreevee? Spreevee. That's cute. Let's see. So what added to the list? At the last stream I do of this painting, we're gonna do a poll and let people vote on which name is the best. Really? Maybe I should capitalize these. Mistreon. Oh, I love that. I love that, Rain. It's like Misdrevious and Eevee had a baby. Mistreon. I like it, like it, like it. Okay, we're gonna like move that down a little bit. How goes at 6? How was your day? How was work? Did you survive? Obviously, you survived 6. Jay! Hello, hun. How's you doing? I'm doing good, Jay. How are you? It's good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, I sent out your Halloween sticker you won, by the way. It made it to the post office. I don't know how long it'll take to get to you, but the Halloween sticker you won is on its way. Also, if you guys are joining and you're wondering how you can get a sticker, Halloween, I'm going to do some more giveaways. I'm going to be giving away some more Halloween stickers and also some Halloween Pokemon cards. So if you were not here and you did not win, you still have a chance to win. So, and this is what they look like. Yes. This is what they look like. Welcome, 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 Mix. Welcome to the stream. This is what they look like, though. So you will have a chance on Halloween to win this, or some Pokemon cards, some Halloweeny Pokemon cards. More dark at the back and lighter at the front. It nailed in my view. Love how bold it is looking, taking shape nicely. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, sweetheart. You're welcome. Hi, Biggs. How you doing? I hope you're doing awesome. And Momo is just relaxing after crafting all day again. That's awesome. That's kind of what I want to do. I want to paint like as much as I can this month. I want to finish this painting. Over the last few weeks, I've dealt with some pains of working in a teaching hospital. Oh no, Shane. No, no, no. You're doing very good, Jay. Won't take long. Yes, I hope not. I hope it doesn't take too long to get to you. I would be curious how, like, if it takes a week or 2 to go overseas. You alright? You just came home? Work hard today? All the worky works. Let's see, bring this line down. And bring this line down. So Dreams, do you paint? You know a lot about painting. Do you paint, Dreams? I don't think I know this about you. Yeah, me sleepy? Oh no. Be right back. Okay, Jay. Redeem drink water? Yes, we need all the water. A roly-poly appeared, guys. You painted in uni? We need to see some of these. We need to see some. Poke catch. If you're catching Pokemon, guys. If you're catching Pokemon, poke catch. Let's see. I'm gonna bring this in a little more because you're gonna just see the weird shaped body of this evolution here. Megs, what would you name a ghost type Eevee, Megs? What would you name it? What evolution name would you give it? These are the important questions we need to know answers to. If you wonder why I'm painting into the Eevee, it's because the Eevee is going to be very translucent and I almost just need to like paint over the ears and the tail for now so that I can paint it wispily on top of the background. I need to look them out, but I think a lot of them are now in my parents' our loft, but I will prove it one day. Oh, I believe you 100%. I just would like to see them. I believe you. But I get that. A lot of my paintings are spread out amongst family members through the years too. And then some I've sold and I don't know where they're at. I don't know where they've made their journey. It's interesting to wonder where your paintings have gone. I wonder where some of them exist to this day. A lot of things I painted with still life. I did a lot of nature stuff. And I did some still life too. Still lifes are really good for helping learn like shadows and lighting and all that good stuff. Okay, now I gotta give these trees some more definition before I get too far. Like bottles and fruit, yeah, I did that. Like bottles, fruit, cylinders, cow skulls, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. Whatever was around in the studio, we painted. Oh, cool. Vamptera. So you would get away from the ending of Eon, how he always has like Eon, because there's a Flareon, Espeon, Umbreon, Vamptera. Yeah. Alright, let's add to the list. Vampyreon. Oh, I like Vampyreon. Make it a Van. Oh, Ghost. Vampyreon. Do you like that better or do you like the other name better? Because I'm going to put one of your names up here. Painting shaded on glass was the worst. Oh, no, on glass? I never painted skulls in college, but I poked around in some. Vampion, not Vampyreon. Yeah. Where's their heart? I mean, where's their heart? Vampion. Do you think so? Because they all end with Eon. I don't think Pokemon would. I don't think Nintendo would or Pokemon would deviate from the Eon part of their names. I don't think they would break away from that. I think they would want to keep that no matter what. I'll make this a little smaller. That's hiding all my Halloween decorations. There. Sounds better. Lampion. Someone want to find me a little cat skull for my altar? Oh no. I've seen them at like, I want to say like Bell's Outlet. They'd have like skeleton cats and stuff. Painting a glass, yeah, is very hard. I've done it once or twice, but I didn't do it on a light color. I did it with a dark background and then painted the glass on top of a dark background because that was easier. I didn't have to use a light background. That's crazy. The fumes are strong in here. I'm gonna open this door. Hold on. It might get a little noisy, but the fumes are crazy. Something about painting with oil paints and odorless mineral spirits. Yeah, no. There's still chemicals. It still smells. Even though it's so called odorless, it still has an odor. I wonder if I can turn this down now. I'm not being blinded in the face. There we go. I might be a little darker, but at least I won't be blinded now. While I'm trying to paint. I need backlighting, like, behind me so that I can shine it on the canvas. Maybe I'll fix that for next time. I'll play with that for next stream. Put some more light behind me so you guys can see it better. Alright, we're doing it. We're painting over it. Bye-bye, ear. Bye-bye, ear. And again, if you're just joining, the reason we're painting over the ears is because they're very translucent and they're going to be on top of the background and you're going to be able to see the background through it. So we want to make sure to take advantage of that now. I'm sure you've seen people paint on black canvases before. It's that kind of idea. Oh, it's super dark. And then at the top is going to be darker even yet. So black and blue. Because then you have like these trees that are majestic and their branches are making the archway. I gotta work on my archway again. I kind of blended it out. Bye bye, tail. We will see you again. One day. Bye bye, tail. Yes. No tail. Pokemon has no tail. That's again why I took the photo and put it on the stream so you guys can see what the overall end shape of this Pokemon is gonna look like. You won't be like, and I know that the camera lights don't do this justice on the layers of the colors and the depths of the colors, but when I make like little prints or photos and stuff, you guys are going to see, or stickers or anything like that, all the details will pop then in real life, you know, way more than they do on the canvas. Black down from the top. Really, 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 really dark blue black color. Pretty much black at this point. I'm just pulling that color down into the wet paint from the top and just pulling it down, straight down. Check this out. I want to learn this. Can I send it directly? I don't think it'll let you. You'll have to send it to my DMs. Momo, I saw what you just posted in Discord. It came out absolutely wonderful. If you want to see what Momo created, check it out in the art channel on the Discord. It turned out amazing. A wild Flapple. Flapple appeared. Catch the Flapple Pokemon. I don't think I have a Flapple, so I'm going to use an Ultra Ball if I have any. I do. Doing the same thing at the bottom. We're taking some really dark colors and we're pulling them in an upward motion to help create this circular tunnel of light in the back. This backlit painting. Do some of that as well. It's looking so cool. Sit on Discord if you want to see it. Okay. Yay! We caught it! Caught the Flapple. Let's see. That is cool though. Watercolor's awesome, Dreams. That is really cool. I've always been more into oil painting. I do like watercolor though. It's so much nicer than dealing with the smell of oils, I will tell you that. And I have watercolor stuff. And I keep thinking about getting it back into it, but then I haven't. Maybe I should. Maybe that's what I need to put on like my Christmas wish list, is a whole brand new watercolor set. I don't really have one. Can I go Amazon shopping right now while I'm thinking about it? It's been so long since I've done any watercolor. And I love the really good watercolor paper with like the torn edges. Because then it just adds to it, you know? That's really nice. Okay. I always like the liquid watercolor that comes in the tubes better than just like those ones that you add water, the little bubbles. The tubed watercolor is the best, like the liquid stuff. At least in my opinion. I follow a lady on TikTok that makes her own watercolor paints, and they are stunning. Oh, that is so cool. I wonder what she uses to make them. It's getting too dark now. I can't see myself. Mona becomes Charizard. Oof. Bad typing while eating donuts. Okay. Charizard. Oh, did my face go like really red when I was like close to the screen? I don't know. I look out my art from my parents' loft though because I want to prove I can and did, but also see them again. I believe you, 100% dreams. She dries flowers and creates a powder and adds to binder to it. It's beautiful. Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, I have to send it to me. She even made a tutorial once. That's cool. I wonder what the longevity of the colors are. That would be my only concern, like the longevity of those colors. Like, would they fade over time? Because I've done like fun pieces with food coloring. You can use food coloring, but I don't know what the longevity is. But like if you just wanted to play around, you could use food coloring as like a test. What are you eating, Migs? Mm-hmm. Probably pizza. Pizza. Foods? I mean, I hope you're eating foods. I wish, right? I just said that because I think everybody had like pizza yesterday or the day before. I had pizza. Well, I had a bread bowl, Domino's bread bowl. You wish? No, you need pizza. Poor Mix. Mix needs pizza. I might get pizza now, though. I'm a bad influence. Don't do it. Don't do it. Bad influence. Thanks for the lick shade. Streamer influences viewers into buying pizza that they don't need to eat. I feel like I need to get more of this other color out, but because I need to bring in these branches and stuff that I want to bring in. And I don't want it to be too black, but I don't know. We can add some more of those details, I think, the next round too. All right, I'm gonna skip that color for a minute. We're gonna go back to the lighter parts for a minute. I need some white. But the goal today is to get like a base coat on almost everything. So we can stay on sort of a schedule here. Need a little bit of green in that. It's not quite the shade I want. A little bit of green. It gives it more of a turquoise kind of aqua color. Which there'll definitely be more of that in the final version. Yep, tail's completely gone now. What tail? I don't see a tail. There is no tail. Pokemon is tailless. And the ear's gonna go away soon too. What ear? There is no face fur. No ear. I have to tell you, I find it amazing how you use such bold colors in the beginning, but just fade it out to give you light. It's some proper Bob Ross stuff and probably the reverence of what I was told, but it absolutely works. That's why you put the wax baseline, because you can paint over it and you won't forget your lines. It's true. It's okay. They'll be back. Because I can paint them bigger and better. But no, I haven't ever seen anybody use the wax stuff before. Other than just doing, like, you know, chalk on top. Like, once this dries, if I wanted to draw it back on with, like, a light chalk, I've done that. I feel like I want to get out the turquoise and do that real quick. I need some turquoise. Where are my paints? Here they are. I can get it open. She's amazing. Thank you. Turquoise, because I can't open paint tubes. I use pliers. I'm crazy. They get like sealed shut, and then I can't twist them off. So I use like pliers to get them open. I guess you have less fear when painting when you've done it so much and you know that no matter how bad it is, eventually it'll dry and you can just paint over it again if you're not happy with it, you know? Just like, meh. I'll paint over it if I need to. A little bit more of that. Bloody! Ghost Eevee Hive, yes, welcome, Bloody. You're freaking smashing it. Thank you, Dreams. Hiya, KimonoKat. Been a minute. How are you? I'm doing good. How are you? I hope you had a good weekend. Work's treating you well this week. I've never used that media, and every time I see it getting used, it's always with a spatula, so it's nice to see how it works. Have you ever used paint thinner or haven't, but it looks tough? Oh yeah. Yeah. I have my paint thinner right here. In my pickle jar. It's the forbidden pickle juice, we call it. So yeah, if you're wondering, it's forbidden pickle juice. Pokemon, Pokecatcher, guys. Dear God, weekend was lit. Universal and photo off was Elvira. Oh my gosh, sounds like fun. You're back. Welcome back, Jay. Welcome back. Alright, we're gonna add some of this fun color in here that I want in here too. I'm just gonna keep changing this forever and be like, you guys are gonna be like, what is she doing? This is the color I really, really want to see more of in this painting. And you're gonna get to see it eventually. I'm gonna add it in like a, kind of like a fog effect later. Once it dries some more. But we're gonna add this turquoise in here. In the brighter spots, kind of randomly. But yeah, you will see more of this color later on. Fan brush to make it look smoky. Usually what I would do is like let it dry and then put like a light coating on with a brush, like a big, fat, fluffy brush actually. But I do have a fan brush. And that is kind of one of the looks I want to go for, is like some fog on the ground later. But that's later. I feel like I need to get my finer detail brush out now. Because there's like little tiny spots that I want to do like different light spots popping through. And this is going to be fun, just kind of like that. I don't know if you want to call it like fairy dust light coming through. Oh, okay, yeah. Just a big house painting brush. Yeah. I don't know what you call it either. I just use a big giant brush for that. But you're talking about more of the motion of fanning it on, yeah. But this is a fan brush. So this is for like leaves and grass and all that kind of stuff. Fur. Alright, I think I'm gonna get my other brush for this because I am liking this, but I gotta use the other brush. Put that one down a minute. I just want to come in here in these little dark corners of the world and add some like fairy light, just like little kind of fairy light spots coming through. I'm loving the fairy light spots. Just little bits of light peeking through different areas of the forest. I'm gonna call it fairy lights. Sounds cool. Most of the time you'd be like, let's blend those out. No. I'm gonna put them in here to stay. Not blending them out. like this. This is fun. I don't know. This is looking so cool. I'm loving this. Sorry, I'm getting excited about the way the paint looks on the canvas. I'm a weirdo. It's just having the effect that I really want, and looks great with the different shades. Love it. And of course I need to add more branch detail back in, but I can do that too. This gives you more of the reverse illusion that there's branches and leaves. It's like so you know the branches and the leaves are there, but you didn't actually have to paint the branches and the leaves. You're painting the light behind the branches and leaves. So to try to paint all those branches and leaves, painting the light. Yeah, I love it. Just a thought, get a darker turquoise green, dab it on with a corner of a 4-inch brush and follow that. You're done. Then a light going through the lime green that could be sick. Just a thought. Yeah, I'm scared to put that much paint on the canvas at one time with that big of a brush. Definitely more a fine detail person. I'm gonna love this painting, guys. Dark fits the spots. I'm telling you, this might be the best Pokemon painting I've done by the time it gets done. I'm telling you, I'm feeling it. Just because it's the most creative and it's not a direct copy of any Pokemon either, it's my own unique Pokemon that doesn't exist yet. The colors are gonna have a lot of this just very bright, high contrast pop too. This may make me start to want to gesso my canvases black first instead of white. I might want black canvases. And then I can paint in all the colors. I'll do what you're doing with the dark green first, then the light green. Yeah, I could. Yeah, there's gonna be some greens and other vibrant colors later. Right now we're just doing the very dark background colors. Dreamy, that's cute. I'm just making you excited and you want to paint. You should paint with me and do your own version of it. Okay. Okay, we added a name. We added Dreamy. There you go. Thank you, Jamie. We added one. I love the idea of building the layers like you're doing. Yeah, I do it so, like, cautiously. I'm just gonna, because this is totally, like, the farthest part away that you're looking at now. And I think the more layers you have in a piece, the more that it just brings out. I hope I can get it done this month, like I really want to. If I put too much into it though, I won't get it done. I'll just be like wanting to add to it forever. Sometimes you just have to call a piece done. This is so cool. I like it. I always do such amazing stuff. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Someone wanted to wash my hair for me. Oh, why does oh someone want to wash my hair for me? Oh, cause your finger. Oh no. I'm gonna sit in the shower and wait. Yeah, it's kind of hard to wash your hair with one hand. No. After this, do I get my Mew? Maybe. Especially if I can pull this off and get that contrast I want, it's gonna be closer to the Mew colors you want in the end. You'll see. So this is an experiment. Especially with the length of your hair. Yes, your hair is so long and gorgeous. I would help you if I could. It looks like vines or branches. I've been considering chopping it off. Oh no. At least with you, we know it would grow back really fast. I mean, it's so heavy. It would grow back fast though. It would be okay. You gotta do what makes you happy. You get it trimmed and thinned? Yeah, you could totally do that too. And then you don't have to lose your length. If you don't want to do that, you know? Now I'm like adding in dabs with this brush too. Like just some quicker, different color dabs of it. And then blending those out a little more. So I kind of wanted to go back in and put some more tree pieces in, but then I grabbed the wrong color. So now we're just making happy little accident blends, which I'm liking too. It's so cool. I'm ready to start putting some brown on them. I could sit here and do this all day with these little light blends and these little lights and highlights. I could do it forever. But I think I want to put some of that tree trunk stuff on. Let's see. Wrong button. Pull catch. All right, we're gonna switch to some brown for a little bit. Even though I could spend the whole rest of this stream just on this lighter color. I don't know. I can always go in. Pokemon escaped. It's not fair. Okay, I need somewhere to put my wet brushes. Somebody want to hold these for me? Here, hold these. Somebody hold these. Because I might want these brushes again and these two colors again. Almost want to get just a little cup to put them in and set them up right. I think I'm going to do that. Hold on. Grab another little cup. Yes, I totally would, right? Go put in paint thinner and see what happens. No, I'm gonna leave these brushes in my little cup. A little shot glass. And then I'm gonna like use them again in a little while. When I want to touch the blue again. Bird sprite, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna get some brushes off with a brown. A very similar brush. This one, and I'm gonna get one more very similar brush to the one I was just using. Let's see, brown brush. Yeah. These two. These two brushes. Gonna be for my tree. Trees. I wonder if I have enough paint out for those. Maybe, maybe not. No, I want my brush back. I mean, I've been dipping it in paint thinner all night. It'll be okay. I've been dipping it in paint thinner all night because some of this paint is older and it's really thick, and I have to thin it anyway. Sent to you via Discord. It's due by 9 a.m. my time on Monday, so you got a few days if you don't get to it right away. Okay, yeah, because it'll probably be tomorrow. Probably won't be tonight. After I get done with stream, I'll be like tired. You know me. Alright, let's do some brown. I'm gonna start over here. I'm gonna need some of those other colors too to come in with the brown. For now, I'm just putting a base coat on. And if you want to know what colors I'm using, these are the colors we mixed earlier for the trees, so you can kind of see them. But yes, art is experimentation, seeing what happens. Like with those little light things, that was a pleasant surprise. I didn't know they were going to turn out that good. Totally did. These trees are very earthy and warbly and viney trees that I'm painting. So they're gonna have a lot of shape and swirls, and they're gonna blend into the earth below. That's gonna have a lot of that too. A lot of that shape and color. So I'm probably gonna have nowhere near enough paint mixed at some point. And then the trees are gonna have some of these blue highlights on them as well, so kind of blend them into the background at some point. And then the branches will fall out into the blue. But first, we're just gonna get kind of a base coat down for these trees. Just a solid kind of color. Doesn't have to be perfectly solid or anything. We're just placing the trees at this moment. We might have to use some mineral spirits to thin these out a little bit. But yeah, I'll definitely look at it for you, Ray. No, it's all good. I just read it and I didn't read it out loud. But I'm proud of you. That's quite the accomplishment. Just means you're a skilled artist. And you took your time and, you know, wanted to see what happened. There. Again, this is just the base coat on these trees, guys, so they're gonna see it a little dark to start with. Again, like I said, I probably should have started with a black canvas today. Because this painting is kind of like painting in reverse from black to light. Look, we did have 4 years, so that helped. That is a long time. I'm super happy with those prints you sent me, by the way. I love. I'm glad you love them. I am glad. I will definitely have more prints of my other pieces in the future. Like, I have the hot air balloon one now I finished. I don't know if I ever posted the finished piece on social media. I may have. I'll have to go back and look. And then I have, I'll have this one too. So I can make 2 more prints. And I never did prints of the Skitty. I do like my Skitty piece. You know, and for those potato and chicken nugget enthusiasts, I have those as well that I've never made prints of. It would be fun. I'm really thinking about opening up my Patreon into more things. I got my eyes out for them. Yes! Or of your Bat Kitty. Yes, Bat Kitty! See, that's what I was talking about, James. I think I wanna start up my Patreon account again. And then do more paintings, and depending on support levels, you get prints and things like that. And then it also, you know, gets restocks of my art supplies and things like that. I really think I want to do that. I've been planning it out for a long time. I just haven't did it. I've been kind of chicken about it because I kind of had really lofty goals when I wrote it, but then I'm just like, just do it. It doesn't mean it has to happen. Just do it, because it definitely won't happen if you don't do it. So, you know, right? You can have entry level Patreon participants, and then you can have extreme levels too. You just got all the boards in the middle, and you don't know what's gonna happen. But I think it's a really cool idea. You don't know what kind of fans are gonna come into your life. You really don't. So I need to reevaluate what those were that I did a long time ago and do something and post it. Right? If you're not trying, yeah, you gotta try. If you don't try, you're never gonna. Yeah. I realized that the top up there needed a different color. I don't think y'all can see the top though. I wish I could feel like this. You could learn. You totally could. If I could stream full time and like teach painting classes or something, that would be cool. Maybe one day. Maybe that's what I need to do, open up painting classes. James, come in 'em! Mine 'em. I missed mine 'em. I wasn't paying attention, I didn't even see it. I have a lot of blank canvases, but it's putting the paint on that stresses me out. I love to see the possibilities. Yeah. It's getting started. That's always the hardest part. Once you put that, it's like writing too. You know, they say just start writing, because if you don't start, you're gonna have like that block. But if you just start writing, then the block goes away. And it's kind of the same thing for art. You can have writer's block or artist block, but a lot of times it's just putting that paint on the canvas and getting started, and then it just helps. Exactly. Yes. I would absolutely paint with you. Oh, that would be awesome. I would love that. Okay, we're gonna have to work on that then. We're gonna have to come up with something. I used to do art night streams where we'd have it's art night, come join me and we'd all paint. It's been a while. Could do that, or I could do classes. I could do a combination of things. Paint's great because if you make a mistake, you can fix it. Yeah, honestly, I think what ruined me for painting and things like that was the fact that I went to school and learned graphic design and got to experience the joys of Control Z. Control Z ruined my painting career for a while. I love being able to undo what I've done with the Control Z or Command Z. Oh my god, I miss being able to do that. You can't do that on a canvas. You can paint over it, but it's not as easy. The only art I was proud of was drawing a sketch of Hammer over top of a big gorge and movers made on one of my blank canvases. I'd like to see that! You can scratch it off? Yeah, you can scratch some of it off. Get some sleep. Wish you well, sweetheart, and good night, and take care. Thank you so much. Thank you for the minis. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Get some sleep. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jay. I don't know if the notification worked, but thank you. Oh, it was a highlight redeem. Never mind. Highlight message. I forgot I had highlight messages. Nobody ever uses them. Thank you, Jay. You get some sleep. Thank you so much for hanging out and being here. I much appreciate it. Get all the sleeps. Love you guys loads. Night night all. Ciao. Let's see. Get rid of that a little bit. Need a thinner brush. Okay, so then this is gonna have something a little different in here. And that'll help me figure out those colors. Night night, Jay. Oh, we path, love it. He's a path in the woods. And it's gonna have a lot of these same colors as the tree. Because there's not much light in the woods. So there's not gonna be a whole lot of green in this painting. There's just gonna be a little bit of green life growing. But not a ton. The tree roots are kind of wild and crazy off these trees as well. Now we're gonna see that in a bit. They're just wild tree roots growing everywhere. Now you need green. Everything else is dark and you need the bright as it comes toward you. Yeah, there's gonna be just pops of this green and turquoise and kind of pinks as this Pokemon. The plant life is gonna glow like the ghost Pokemon. So it's gonna be this world of like glowing, like all the life glows. The living things glow, and the trees are more like dark and death, but the light things are glowy. And there's gonna be probably, I might even do like some wispy looking butterflies. Dark and death, yeah. Yeah, because the vines and it's just like this hollow. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a hollow. So I think we're on ad break. I don't think you can. I don't think you can hear me at the moment. So you can see like little sketches of plant life I got in here. It'll be here later. Just not yet. Bye-bye, plant. Run away. Now I so want to paint, but it's like 2:30 a.m. and I don't think it's a great idea to start now. I would be nice and creeped out in the woods. Yeah, woods are creepy. At night, it would be totally creepy in the dark. This woods here, yeah. But this does remind me of some of the places in the Pokemon games that are really dark and, yeah, have these bright lights that just make it beautiful. It'll get there. It's gonna have the bright, beautiful pops of color. Which may not happen until like after it dries really good before I can do all the pops of color. But that's okay. Because we're gonna work on all the background details first. Because to me, Eevee is not necessarily the most important thing about this painting. It's, you know, it's the environment too. I'm excited about this, not just for painting the ghost evolution, but I like painting nature, as you can tell. I have another painting I was working on a while back that was like the woods. I like painting trees and forest and green and nature and stuff like that. Adding a little bit of this black depth in here. These trees. Gotta give them a little more dimension. Because they're gonna have shapes and dimensions and depth of color too. They're not gonna be flat. They're gonna be kind of knotty and spirally and have their own unique characteristics. Guys, wait till I get my own house with hopefully is soon, then I will join you. Yay! You can paint all the things too. A Weeping Bell appeared. Ooh, I like the little pumpkin icons it's using. The little emotes. I definitely need some more backlighting in my studio though for painting this. Because it's kind of hard to see some of it now. Adding some depth color in there. You don't own that ball. What? I'm out of those? Can you get that white bit top left? It's Bakumi, yes. That's why I didn't put this brush in the mineral spirits. You're like, no, drop in the mineral spirits. I'm like, no, I'm not done with that color yet. The other left. Okay, I'll get that one too. That's actually gonna be a branch. So hold up, hold that thought. There's purpose behind that one. It's going to be brown. Here, I got the brush for the brown for that. There you go. Actually, let's add a little bit of lighter color on there too. Now it's gone. Now you can feel at ease, Dreamweaver. You can feel much better now that that little branch has color on it. I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks like that. Don't drive me nuts. Just hurry up and paint that spot already. It's like it's driving me wild. Hurry up and paint it. Seeing how this is going to apply on here like I want it to. It's gonna work okay. But I've got so many layers of paint, it might have to dry a little bit too. Now I have two brushes with brown. Oh, she is going to her left, silly. So much more at ease now. I'm glad you feel better. I'm glad I was able to help you feel more at ease. Would you believe I still squeezed out like a ton of white paint and I'm already out? Even though what you see, I used a ton of white paint. I squeezed out 3 times as much white paint as I did any other color. White paint. Now the only white is the Pokemon. Is that driving you nuts? The Pokemon is white. It's glorious. Just a thought, but if you could use bold reds, amber, and green on the ground, it could look cool. Yeah. It will look cool. Don't worry. And then it's gonna have almost like a reflective quality to the glow too. So it's gonna be kind of reflective of things. Right now I'm just kind of putting in some subtle colors, I guess I would say. You love the tilt of its head. It's like, It's gonna be so cute. Right now it looks kind of weird, creepy. It's just like this thing. It's the thing. Then I seriously need some more white paint on this. And some more red. I want to use my paint knife to mix some more colors real quick. But I never got really good at doing a painting with a paint knife. I just couldn't handle not having the control over the details I wanted. But I've always been inspired to use a paint knife to do a whole painting, but I haven't. I haven't done it yet. Maybe one day. And I don't see how people paint a whole painting in like one session. Like, they just can paint the entire thing and they're done. I'm definitely a layers, let it dry person. Unless it's acrylic, because then it dries really fast. But this is oil, so this takes a few days to dry. Like, I'll still be able to work the paint to a degree, like tomorrow and over the next couple days, but it won't be dry completely, which sometimes is nice, because then you can still blend or add to it and work the paint a little bit before it's dry completely. But then sometimes you're like, hurry up and dry completely so I can do the next step. So it's a combination. That always scripted, I'm sure, to do that, and it's not smudged, just is unrealistic. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen people take a hairdryer to their work because they can't wait. That would be me. You're far more chill than I am, and that is why you're so awesome, though. Yeah, I don't know if you could take a hairdryer to oil paint. I don't know if it would just like run and bleed. That or the fumes would just be too much, I think, maybe. I mean, I'm sure somebody has, though. Now, acrylic, yeah, you can totally take a hairdryer to that stuff and do it faster. And with acrylic, I will tell you, there's a huge difference between using quality acrylic paints and using low quality acrylic paints. And that quality is like the pigmentation and how much water's in the paint. Like, the pigments will be stronger in the quality paint, and the paint will be thicker. And you won't have to do like as many coats and stuff. But with a low quality paint, it'll be super thin, and the pigments will require more coats, and it won't dry as fast either because it's so much water. I painted with acrylics for years before I did oils. So I can do both, just not ideally. Hiya, hiya, hiya. Welcome to the stream. Hello. Makes sense. And this is why I do music. It needs a bit of distance. Yeah. Hi, Jamie. Welcome, Sent One. Welcome. It's going good, Mono. I mean, Paulo. Oh my gosh. Monstrosity, I just called you Bono. I'm not tired. I'm fighting it. I'm not tired at all. No. I slept 10 hours. I shouldn't be tired. But I am. I'm very tired, actually. But we're going to paint for a little while longer. And then I think I stream again tomorrow based on my schedule. Let me look. It is... Yes, I do more art tomorrow night, and then Friday night I'm doing Phasmo for the first time ever. So, wish me luck. Raina's gonna murder me. Chanty escaped, no one caught it. Delusional oversleep. It might be paint fumes. Let's be real. It kind of feels funny how some people on Twitch call me Scent. and Scent One, while others call me Devil Dog. I still can't get over how awesome that background is. Thank you! No way. Oh my god, yes, great game. Yeah, you gonna tune in, buddy? What? You're gonna like make me scream and yell and freak out during Phasmo, right? Big scaredy cat, and you were recently gifted it. Nice. Ooh, I so want to see the Phasmo stunt. That game freaks me out. That artwork does look nice though, Kimono. Thank you so much, One. It's gonna be amazing. As you can see, I've painted over the ears and the tail for now because they're gonna be translucent. Translucent. For you guys just joining like in the past hour or something, let me give some more details behind this painting. All the evolutions, Pokemon fans everywhere always want them to come out with the next evolution or Eevee evolve from Pokemon. So I'm painting an evolution of Eevee if it was a ghost type, because we don't currently have a ghost type or a dragon type. And the idea between the evolve of an Eevee is a little bit dark. You know, most Pokemon, if you're not super familiar, evolve from different stones or friendships, you know, fire stones, water stones. You get water Pokemon, leaf Pokemon, things like that. This one evolves from a brick. So poor Eevee, do the math. It became a ghost. And here we are, we're going to be painting a ghost Eevee, and which is why I've gone and painted over the ears and the tail for now, because they're going to be very translucent and you're going to see the background through them. So it'll be cute. And it has big eyes because creatures at night, like bats and owls and different things, often have really big eyes and really big ears. So the Eevee's gonna have really big eyes, really big ears, and a short, very translucent fan tail. The texture of the fur, it's gonna be a white Eevee, by the way. It's gonna be white, like a ghost, and it's going to have very translucent, iridescent colors. So it's got all the colors in it to create the white. So I'm hoping I can pull this off, and I'm excited about it. Bye, dreams. Good night. Take care. I am more a Vulpix or Ninetales fan myself. Ooh, can you imagine a ghost-looking Vulpix, though? Ninetales? I'm not fainting too much. Cheers, night. Sweet Eevee. Yes. So a Casper Eevee. Yes. So we're coming up with names. What would Pokemon, the company, or Nintendo call a ghost evolution of an Eevee? So we have come into consistent that all the consistence words all the previous evolutions of Eevee all have Eon at the end. So we have a couple of them like Mysterion, Vampyon, a couple of them. It could be a Vampire Eevee, it could be a Ghost Eevee. You still believe yours is superior? And at the end, when I finish this painting over this month, we're gonna be working on it. The last stream, we're gonna do a poll. We'll let everyone like vote on the best name for this evolve. I can imagine Vulpix or Ninetales as a ghost, right? Because they already have like the white snowy Vulpix. Caspian. That's so cute. I like that. You're Casper, Caspian. I like that. I like that. I think I'm gonna add that to the list. Just because it's cute. Let's see. Okay, make sure I spelled it that way. Let's do it. Okay. didn't accidentally delete one, did I? No, I don't think I did. I feel like I need to move this now. The list is getting too long. I need to move it. There, we'll move this up here. This is so you can kind of see what the Pokemon's gonna look like in the end. That's why I put the print up there of what it looked like before I cut off the ears and the tail. That way you guys know. Now I am basically done with my paper. I'm gonna crawl into bed and do my first dailies. I haven't done that. Rain, do mine. Do mine for me. Check into my Hoyo labs for me. Gotta do all my Genshin things. But yes, good night, Rain. If you're going to sleep, are you joining? Are you staying? She might be sleeping, or she might be lurking. I mean, I could if you gave me the login, right? Water. I need water. Drink lots of water, guys. Water reminder. Water is good for you. I'm gonna at least do my phone part, and then I'm gonna leave it open on my phone so I'll remember to log into the game. That'll remind me to log into the game later to do that part. But yeah, I forgot I'm streaming this tomorrow too, so this won't be overly dry tomorrow or overly wet tomorrow, so that'll be great because then I can go in and add more details to everything we did today. It'll be great. So I don't have to worry about getting all the details on just yet. It's not like I'm gonna sit on this and let it dry for a week, like happens. But yeah, I'll be live again tomorrow, just so you know. I've been drinking water. I think I need some electrolytes though. Yes, those are good for you. Some juice or flavored water with a little bit of fruit juice if you don't want too much sugar. Gonna just add a touch of this in here too, just to get this started. I definitely want to put tons of depth into these trees as well. You probably could, but with oil paint, I don't know if I want. It might try to like run or melt. I don't know. I've never done that with oil paint. That and the fumes might be too much. If it was acrylic, you totally could use a hairdryer. But I'm not completely to the point that I can't work the wet paint still, too. Sometimes, though, I'm like that. I'm like, oh god, it's gotta dry before I can do anything else. But there's just so much detail I can keep putting into this that I'm not quite to that point. I can just keep adding detail after detail. These are gonna be some very twisted, gnarly looking trees when I get done. I was just thinking how some might use it in a cooking sense. I gotta get myself to sleep. I don't know why today was such an exhausting day. You too, Mono. Alright, Jamie, good night. Yes, it's really incredible what you're doing with this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't wait. I'll be back on tomorrow, you guys, if you want to catch tomorrow's progress and come say hi. I'll try to post a picture of this, like from a camera angle to show you guys more of the details of the progress. But good night, Jamie. Sweet dreams. Get some sleep. I think I want to add. I almost want to paint a little bit of the Eevee. I hate that it's just the white of the canvas still. I want to paint a little bit of the Eevee. I might do it. I might, even if it's just the base white coat of it with a little bit of blue or something just to get started. That means I gotta get some white paint out though. I just want all the sketches and the white canvas gone. I mean, just to move the air in the room, consider. Oh, yeah. Rose can dry it out a little bit faster. Yeah. I can leave my ceiling fan on too, like overnight to help it dry. Yeah, ceiling fan definitely helps. It does dry it out a little faster. You're totally right. Yeah, that's a good idea to get it more to the point that I want it to be for tomorrow night. Also to get the excessive fumes out of here. My studio. Probably air out my house tomorrow. A little bit. Some fresh air. I think we're just gonna start with this color. Sir Viper appeared. Ooh. Catch. You don't own that ball? I don't have any of them? No! I'm out of Pokeballs. There. We fixed that. But even this Eevee that I'm painting, it's gonna need a darker base in order to do that translucent anyway. It's gonna need a darker base than white to make it more translucent. I don't want to lose her smile on her face, but I feel like I just need to paint away the Eevee. It needs to go. I'm gonna paint out all this stuff. So it's not gonna look like much, but it's a base coat for the future. Bye-bye, glow in the dark. Translucent white spot. And then like, just to remember some definition of the shape. There. It's gonna be totally a white thing. Ruined cabin. True Bob Ross fan style. I didn't catch the Pokemon. Centone got it. Is it Centone or Centone? I used to hate art class. Oh no. Happy accidents. I mean, if it's not your forte, then I understand. If you just don't want to do art, you don't want to do art. Even for artists, you know, we gotta be in the mood to paint and create, and sometimes it's just not for everybody. Not everybody wants to paint and create. Okay. Centone is right? Okay. I forgot to ask. It's like, you know what? I don't even think I asked. Bloody, I bet you did art. Were you good at it? Did you paint happy little trees and cabins? I can do art, but the art I am more comfortable with is cooking. Even that I don't feel comfortable doing. Oh no! Cooking is great though. Food is yummy. So you like to cook, but you don't feel like you're like a pro at it. If I'm understanding you correctly. Because, yeah. Stick figures are your niche? You used to have your Twitch name in all small caps? Oh. Centone? 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 That would be like, well, all caps. Centone, maybe. Let's see. Well, if it makes you feel better, I'm not confident in this body shape of this Pokemon. I'm really not. I'm just winging it. Because it's kind of like at an angle and twisted, so I'm trying to paint it like at a... It says, it isn't that I'm not a pro at it, it's just most of the time the people I do cook for don't really appreciate it. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible, because you're in Jamie's Discord server? Yeah, I'm totally in Jamie's Discord server. Yep. Yeah, some people just don't have like adventurous taste, or they don't want to taste new things. Some people have a food palette profile of they want everything cooked exactly the same way every time, no changes, no differences. I want my food the same. I don't want it to change. I have like a set number of meals that I like, and that's it. They don't have creative palettes. They don't strive to taste new things, and it's just their palate. Oh, you did? I'll have to look. Let's see. And you're more than welcome to join my Discord too if you like. Glorious food. Let's see. down. It's been a while since I've been in there. Cool knives, though. Oh, that looks really yummy. I would eat that. I would totally eat that. I'm all about food and trying food. Did you say bloody? Depends on if I really want it that way from a specific restaurant. True. But yeah, I think Bloody, you have more of an open palate to tasting new things. It would be around the back of the 10th of October. Yeah, I see the one on the 10th. The, like, I want to say it's like a not a stir fry, but a kind of like a fried rice kind of dish. It looks good. Yeah, it looks like a good fried rice. I would totally eat that. Now different restaurants, bring it on, right? Yep, that was the second dish I made. Alright, let's look up. I'm seeing all your knives. So are you studying to be a chef? Or just do it for fun? Let's see. I still have half the menu to go through at Sumi's. Oh my gosh. I might not post it in Jamie's. It's okay. But yeah, you guys bloody send one if you feel like it. No pressure. I'm sure you're like being in 5,000 discords. If you ever want another one, there you go. Ah, I added an S. Because I said discords. There. Don't feel any obligation that you have to join, but you guys are both more than welcome to join. There is a cat cafe channel in there where we do post food pics. It's art, anime, food, games on different platforms, you know, usual stuff. Memes. And now that I'm doing this, I feel like the butt's too high up. The first dish I made was posted on the 6th of October. Okay, food pics, not from an actual cat cafe. No, not from an actual cat cafe. I have not been to one of those. Oh, it's a roast. You cooked a roast. Yum, 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 yum. Hi, I came from hi. I wanted to stop in and say hi. Welcome, 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 Spike. Thank you for stopping in and saying hi. I like your name. Is it Spiky? I like it, I like it, I like it. Also used a roast for the fried rice. Good idea. Now I'm hungry again. Yeah. Thank you. You can call me Spike or Spiky. I like it, I like it, I like it. I like the cake. How did you get the cake icon? I like that. 2023 cake. Was that a Twitch event? That's cool. really sorry. You're a godsend one. It was just part of a Reddit thing they did this summer. Oh, dang. I would have loved to have cake. That's so cool. I like it. I like it. And let's see. And welcome to the Discord, buddy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Make yourself at home. Let's see. And since I know you're a streamer, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the streamer role. And since I know you are trustworthy, I'm gonna give you the ability to post images because I know who you are. Everybody else has to like earn that level. Because my Discord's a little strict on some things, but not everything. It's just to prevent trolls. I'm heading to bed, Seas. Okay, Momo. I'm surprised you didn't already fall asleep. Thank you very much, related. You're welcome. Black cat ears. Welcome, Crowley. Welcome, 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 welcome. Hello, Night Mono. Night Night Hello. Oh, it's Momo. You're not going to sleep, Hollow. I have an interesting Ghost Eevee, but before I ask, what rating would you give the channel in terms of like, is it PG-13 stuff? Like, don't want to mess up that vibe. He was on lurk. My head did 8 stone out. Oh, it's okay, Momo. A lot of times my channel is like rated mature, but we don't like say things blatantly, like out loud, like misspell words and things like that. And it depends on the day of the week too. Like Goth on Friends, we do like a lot of into windows more on my stream than actually coming out and saying anything. We do a lot of into windows, if that makes sense. But I do have it rated like mature for just to keep underage individuals away from my, not so much me, but my community. That's because I was thinking not family friendly, but I wanted to make sure. Yeah. Let's see. All the love. Night, Momo, we're gonna miss you. What was I doing? I was reaching for something and I forgot what it was. I was about to get something. I don't remember. Totally forgot. I forgot what I was reaching for. Oh, black cat ears. Thank you, Crowley. Thank you. Oh, you said black cat ears. Yes. I'm gonna cough here. I need some water too. Big me for a second. But yes, since you redeemed the cat ears, we have the black spike collar cat ears. Ta-da! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, not gaming. Art. Nobody called the Pokemon. Sads. Sads Pokemon. And for those lurking and listening, we're just putting a base coat on this Pokemon. We're not trying to actually turn it into a masterpiece tonight. But yeah, I would have to know what content so your name would be interesting. Yeah, I don't know if we want to do that because we're gonna have everybody vote on the name of the Pokemon like at the end of the month on the evolution name. So we probably want to keep it sort of family friendly. if we were joking around, like in Discord community night or something, you could totally say what you wanted to say. Because we do Discord community nights and we get kind of crazy. The Discord link isn't working? Oh, jeez. It might have broke again. Hold on. Oh, and if you're on mobile, sometimes they're a pain. But I think I can... I know that sometimes mobile issues with Discord links can be a pain too. But let me send it without the weird redirect name. You're on PC? Okay, here. Try that one. That one should work just fine. That redirect for using my name as KimonoKat sometimes fails me. There. Okay, we're gonna add this color in. Oh, I have that. Ridiculously dark color. Hopefully that worked for you. Yay! It worked for Devil Dog. Welcome, welcome, welcome! Welcome to the community. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're welcome. Welcome to the community. We do movie nights and Discords on Tuesdays. We've been doing the MCU universe, like in timeline order on Tuesday nights. We do one movie each week. That's what we're currently working on. Sometimes we do anime. Right now we're working on the Marvel movies though, in timeline order. Oh, yeah. And then sometimes, once I get to know community members, I allow them to my live streams, but I have to get to know everybody first. I allow them to come on to Golf with Friends and also like bingo nights on Friday nights when I do those. I don't have any of those planned this month, but I usually have them planned a lot. Kind of like what Jamie does. Yeah, she has movie nights. Yeah. Yeah, we did. Tuesdays is my movie night. I don't know what night hers is at the moment. But yeah, mine we stop every 30 minutes of the movie for like breaks and just talking because half the people like to talk a lot and just hang out. So we'll take like 10-15 minute breaks. So a 2-hour movie takes us like 3 hours, but we just hang out and we start at like 7 p.m. It's just an excuse to hang out and talk and stuff. You weren't getting the video? Oh no. Sounds like Discord was being mean. I would definitely try again at some point. I'm putting in these little tiny ears. It looks like a cat right now. It's a cat. You guys have been fooled this whole time. It's really a cat. It probably was, but I do use Discord for comms when I play with streamers, when I'm in a team with them on Dead by Daylight. Oh! Even though I don't talk. That's okay, it helps you listen to your teammates at least. And when we do movie nights, some people don't want to talk either during the breaks, but we have the text chat channel up the whole time, and we text each other the whole time, whether we're on break and talking or muted. We like text the whole time. Because some people don't like to talk, some people don't like to use cameras, and we have a mix of all the above when we hang out. I feel like I'm painting Mew now. It looks like a Mew. Mewion. Yes. That's another name for the Eevee, Mewion. Yeah. It's totally not gonna look like that at all. You'd be surprised how many times I scare the team without doing much, but sneaking up on them. Just they're like, oh, where'd you come from? That's funny. They think you're going to murder them, and then they're like, oh no. It's my team. Teammate. But yeah, it's actually gonna be a white Pokemon. I'm just painting the base coat because in order to get white, it's gonna be every color to be white. I just want some kind of shape on here. It's a white ghost, transparent ghost Pokemon. Which is another reason I'm pulling in all these colors, because it's fun pulling in all the colors from the background while I can. And then adding a little bit of my other colors too. I think I'm gonna paint the eyes though. Maybe. Although one actually tries to loop me in after I scared them off and off from Jen they were working on, and when they came back they saw me working on the same Jen. Oh no. Tried. Okay, so for the eyes are actually gonna be dark to start with. Those are big eyes. Big dark eyes. And I don't know if I'm gonna have them quite that big, but you get the idea. But it's definitely gonna have huge ears. Better to see you with, my dear. I think I've scared maybe 5 different people for a total of 15 or more this alone on Dead by Daylight. Oh no. Let's see. We'll catch Weedle. Not that I want a Weedle, but you know. With this color, emphasize that the bottom's gonna have something. That didn't work. Chong. this done on here. Weedle escaped? No! Get back here, Weedle! It looks bizarre right now. This thing looks so bizarre right now. I don't even know. Let's see. Boo. This is part of the evolving process. It'll look better later. There. Just laughing. This poor Pokemon. Let's see, and then the eyes eventually will have a highlight like there and right there, but probably a little cleaner. Get the idea. You get the idea what the eyes look like. Then it's gonna have ginormous ears. So tomorrow I'm probably gonna bring in some other colors to my palette. Be exciting. You're definitely gonna see some purples on this canvas tomorrow. Purples at least. I don't know if we're gonna make it to having green on here yet, but we're gonna have some purples. I love this poor thing. This poor tailless cat ear. You. This, oh, it's cute though. I like it. I like it, and at the same time, it's just so weird looking. At the same time, it's just weird. I don't know. It's so weird and cute at the same time. Love it. And then I don't think I have any more of that white paper. I mix that a little bit because it's a little too high. All right. Time to clean my brush. Work with what I have. I think I've just like, nope. You know, I don't think I have been scared by a teammate before on Dead by Daylight. Not yet. Eevee looks nice. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And this is just the base like I just kind of wanted to see it with eyes on and the white of the canvas gone, you know? Since I'm going to be staring at this for a couple streams till I identify. Every bit of it, I wanted to see a little more detail. Alright, go leave it alone. Leave it alone. At least the eyes. We're leaving the eyes alone for now. In there. Cute. Well, I do need to go permalurk because I'm gonna go play some games. But have an amazing stream. Thank you, Hollow. You're welcome. And yeah, not yet anyways. Not how my teammates reacts to me. That's not Eevee, that's heebie-jeebies. It is right now, for sure. It's definitely heebie-jeebies for right now. It's kind of creepy. It's all good. It's all good. I'm having fun with heebie-jeebies. There, now we're making like a mask. What? Shaping that skull a little bit. Adding some definition to the face a little bit, even though it's gonna have like so much fluff and fur, it's not really gonna matter. I keep getting pain on my fingers and I don't realize it. There. Later, hope you have fun. Okay. Alright, I think I'm done for now. I think we are done till tomorrow night. I say that and then I'm gonna keep like painting it and touching it and I just need to stop. Ah! No white of the canvas is seen. We're good. No white. Yep, we're done. Because I'm gonna have to squeeze more paint out if I keep it up. Just stop. Let the canvas breathe. And it'll be here tomorrow. And so will I. So I'm gonna start cleaning all these brushes real quick. Important to clean your brushes. You use oil paints, you have to clean them with paint thinner. Believe it or not, paint thinner, dish soap, and then hairspray. So clean it with the paint thinner. First you wipe it off on a towel to get all the excess off. Then you throw away a towel. And then you clean it with the paint thinner to get the color out of the brush as much as you can. Then you use dish soap because oil paint is oily. And so dish soap cuts the oil. And then to shape the brush back, you can use hairspray. And it helps make your brushes last. Doing all that. Yeah. Don't touch it! I don't want to touch it. Don't touch it. I want to touch the painting. Don't touch the painting. Just be done. Okay. Alright. Clean the brush. Excess paint. Mineral spirits. This one too. Excess paint. Throw it in the mineral spirits. And I used, I think, 4 brushes today. Not bad. I don't like using a lot of brushes because then I gotta clean a lot of brushes when I get done. And that's my least favorite part. You know, the name Caspian was sounding familiar to me in some sense, and it is a name of a sea in Europe near Asia called Caspian Sea. Oh, interesting. I did not realize that either. Alright, that brush is clean-ish. And then get all the paint off this way. Forbidden milk. Or forbidden pickle juice, however you want to call it. My mineral spirits are in a pickle juice jar. One more done. A what? Pavilion. I want the pavilion. I've been trying to catch all the different colors of those in the game. Nothing wrong with reusing pickle jars? Yeah. It's great. I didn't think about it, but this is right under the mic, so you guys can probably hear all of it. Probably hear me swirling and cleaning the brush. Because it's right underneath the microphone. You got some ASMR brush cleaning going on here. Every time I stick my brush in the jar and okay, stage 1 is clean. Stage 2 I will take and clean in another room, of course. But those are done. I'm gonna put my stuff down there, put the lid on there. Yeah, y'all can hear that. The lid on the pickle jar. I use a pickle jar for a homemade Italian dressing seasoning that I make. That sounds good too. So you're a culinary artist. I'm gonna move that over there so I don't like kick it. Let's see, move this. I wonder if I could take this. Oh, I better not take it off the easel. I'll take a photo and I'll drop it in Discord so you guys can see the details, and I'll post it online as well. No one caught it. That's so mean. We wanted it. I wanted the moth butterfly Pokemon. I didn't even look to see what color it was when it spawned. They have like so many different color versions of it. And dun, 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 dun. Alright guys, that's it. I'm going to run away. Thank you all for lurking and listening and hanging out tonight. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your support, your ideas. I cannot wait to see you guys next stream, and that'll be tomorrow. And then Friday is Phasmo. So I will see you guys then. Good night, everyone. Yes, night, everyone. Good night.